what are some techniques or recommendations on how to best use Boards and Beyond that current students may not realize?
Yeah, lots of students use it different way. I've been asked this question before, what's the best way to use Boards and Beyond? Lots of students use it different ways, so there really isn't a right way. My personal belief is that the material covered in the videos is just too vast for you to cram it all in 6 weeks of dedicated study time. And really, I think the best way to use the videos, and this is how I think most students do it, is to use it alongside your classes. So when you're learning biochemistry, you should do what your professors advise and read the textbooks and take your exams, but at the same time, maybe you watch the Boards and Beyond videos to give you that foundational knowledge of how things work. And then when you get to your dedicated study time, you can come back and get the videos that are on topics that are hard for you, or if you want to watch them again, it won't be the first time you've seen the material. You'll be sort of reinforcing what you already learned before.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great, which takes me pretty much to my second question, which is pre-dedicated versus dedicated. I know you touched upon it in the last question, but do you have any more specific advice on how students should be using Boards and Beyond during their lecture series in school versus their 6 to 10 week dedicated period for the boards?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And, I'm a general cardiologist, so I've had to take like 8 or 9 or 10 boards. And
wow.
I've along the way learned a lot of things that work and also a lot of things that don't work. But the weeks before your exam are really the only time when really fine details are going to stick in your mind. So that's really a precious time for memorizing things and doing practice questions. That's really not a good time to be learning cardiac physiology for the first time, or to be learning acid-base principles when you never got them before. So in the pre-dedicated period, those are good times to go slowly through the videos, really make sure you get the big points about each system and each disease, because you can memorize lots of things a year before your exam. Trust me, you won't remember it. It just will fall out of your brain. But you'll remember big picture things about how systems work, how diseases work. And then in those 6 weeks of pre-dedicated, you'll be in a much more powerful position to retain the fine details that you need for your boards. And I've seen this time and time again where I've tried to prepare for board exams months in advance, and I memorize things, and literally a week before the exam, I don't remember the fact. One story I like to tell people is I took the echocardiography boards, and I found one of the books that I used to study in my car a month after the exam, and I opened it up, and there was an equation circled and starred by me. Yeah. I could have sworn I'd never seen it before in my life. I could have sworn I'd never seen that equated. And that's what happens. It was a month after the exam, and it was some factoid that I didn't use in my daily life, and I had just forgotten it. So I use that story to demonstrate the fact that memorization is so important the first few weeks before the exam, but months out is really the time to not worry about memorization, but go slowly and get the big picture down to put you in the right spot for when you get to dedicated.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like excellent advice, and I'm sure many other medical students have felt the same way when they looked at cardiac or lung physiology years ago or a few months ago. Right. We got it literally a week later. Right. But that actually takes me to the next question, which is what techniques do you suggest can help students retain the most knowledge from your lecture series, whether it's doing multiple passes or taking comprehensive notes?
Right. Yeah, I mean, retention of knowledge, any type of knowledge, really only comes with use of that knowledge. So when you start being an internist and you're out on the wards every day, you're checking everyone's kidney function, you don't need to memorize what the serum creatinine does in renal failure because you're using it every single day. The trouble you're in as a med student is you're asked to learn things that you really have never used and you don't have a way to use every day leading up to the exam. So what can you do? So what I recommend is you first make sure you understand it, the big picture, the disease, the drug, whatever it is you're trying to learn. And then you need to periodically go back to that over time. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can go back to your notes. You can go watch the video again. You can do UWorld questions. But, you need to sort of, after a few months go by, go back and review it again and go back and review it again. Only if there's no way that you're going to remember something you haven't seen for 6 months. Maybe you'll remember the broad strokes, but you're not going to remember the fine details unless you sort of keep going back to your data. You've got to use the knowledge over and over again.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like excellent advice. I'm sure everyone's taking notes. I just want to say thanks so much for starting a series dedicated towards medical students. I think all these series that are coming out are really helping medical students understand what's important in all these different systems that we're learning about. Again, everyone, Round of applause. Thank you to Dr. Ryan for coming on to Medscape Medical Students Best Practices. If you want to check out our other videos on different resources, definitely check out our YouTube or Medscape links in the description below. Again, thanks so much, Dr. Ryan.
Thank you.